is it patriotic to volunteer your neighbor's stuff? That's the real question, right? Because what we're doing through democracy is not saying, I am going to give more. Your vote is not your moral barometer. It can't be, because what you're doing is saying, I'm perfectly fine morally with volunteering your stuff. It's your stuff I feel good about giving away. This is disturbing to me at a deep philosophical level, and I kind of wish this was the political conversation we had, because philosophy and morals are really behind a lot of these differences in proposals.
Well, Will, my first reaction to this was, you know, for all of the literary sophistication that Obama was supposed to bring to political discourse, didn't anyone tell him that patriotism is the last refuge of scoundrels? I mean, this is a well-worn adage, and that here we are at the October surprise, and all of a sudden the surprise is going along with my plan is patriotic. I agree with your critique of this. And my question to Obama would be, is a patriot a crony capitalist? Is patriotism taking money from, you know, stealing money from Paul to pay to Peter because Obama likes it? This, to me, is just a very strange formulation and open to attack almost instantly.
Our producer, Nick Rizzuto, who talks about many of these segments we're going to talk about on these shows, said to me, you know, what I think is happening is they're confusing the concept of patriotism. Maybe not confusing, calculating the concept of patriotism and changing it to the concept of nationalism. What we're talking about now is give to your nation. Voluntary or involuntary, give to your nation.
Well, this is also, we talk about redistributive policies with the Obama administration, but really a lot of this is just using the democratic system as really a spoils system, right? So the central government gets to decide who gets what, because they know what's best, because of social justice, because of paying your fair share. All of this rhetoric isn't just rhetoric. It goes to a much deeper underlying ideology, which is that the central government should be working very closely with some very large businesses, should be telling you exactly how much you get to keep of all of your stuff, and should be making sure that different people get different things, whether it's Solyndra getting $500 million loan, or if it's people who are getting benefits directly from the state that pay no individual income tax. I mean, this is deeply ingrained stuff, and it is a real problem because, as we've talked about before, giving people stuff, politically popular. Taking stuff away, a little problematic.
It sounds like propaganda to me. To me, it reminded me of wartime. What do governments do when they want to rally people around their flag to justify whatever it is they want to do? And we even have a museum in Washington, D.C. called the Museum of Propaganda, I believe, and it goes through all of this. This is what it sounds like to me, and it almost uses fear as a way to get people to rally around the flag. So if I don't agree with you know, crony capitalism, which they would call it, but if I don't agree with you, does that mean I'm not patriotic?
I think it's the
implication.
It is propaganda. I don't think it's fear. I think it's guilt. And I think what you've seen over the past year, and you saw it in 2008, is this effort to guilt people into voting for Obama and liking his policies. They use race, they use gender, they use all kinds of things to tell you, if you don't agree with us, you're a terrible person. And you're going to feel guilty, you're going to be racist, you're going to be sexist. You have to come over to the good side. Otherwise, live in shame with the other cretins.
The amazing thing is they're not guilting you into giving more yourself. They're not asking you to be more charitable. They're guilting you into taking something from your neighbor to give to another. That's the guilty way. And your vote, by the way, that's going to be how we measure your morality.
You know, they always talk about this in terms of, you know, in terms of now patriotism. But the fact is that you can give more. If paying taxes was patriotic, you can give as much money to the IRS as you want. Anybody who says that I would feel more patriotic if I could pay higher taxes, let's see your tax return. Pay 90% of your income on your tax return. You absolutely can do it. But if you're not willing to do that, you certainly shouldn't be willing to do what you're talking about, Will, which is just, well, everybody else is going to give me stuff. I'm really smart. I know what everybody should get.
And, you know, there is something you can understand, some sort of appealing about the vision of the future, the energy of the future. And if we all pull together...
Hey, this is rosy, Amy. This is where I'm like,
I mean, I think what they called it glossy.
Right. I mean, this is, you know, putting a man on the moon. This is, you know, beating the Soviets during the Cold War. That's patriotic. But again, the private market really can address this. If you want to invest in windmills and solar panels, you can pony up and write a check and send it to the next
Isn't
CEO.
it cynical that this comes out now? I mean, isn't it just a little too obvious? I know you said, Will, it's not a surprise, but
this is why I've been calling it this magic book, because the release this morning was President at 10:10 to reveal new plan for the country in glossy 20-page
What about the old
book.
plan?
It's as if it's very Lord of the Rings, as if he found this book, and in it are
the
all
magic
of the
secrets to a good economy.
The secrets to a good
Why was he
economy
keeping
that he
them this
didn't have for
long?
4 years, but now suddenly
Does it
found.
work?
If these were so
I mean,
good,
it's absolutely
does it work?
preposterous.
If these were so good, you'd think he wouldn't wait until after the debates when he would have to defend all these policies specifically. He'd have to be able to do chapter and verse.
Is it
He
helpful?
wouldn't wait till afterwards.
Is it
not
helpful?
No,
For
I
Barack
think
Obama's re-election.
I think he was
these the same?
expecting the media to
these
love this, and they are throwing this under the bus.